What's up, guys? Back again. This time with Jonathan Atkins Trans Am. And because we're going to do such an extensive chassis on this car, I figured I would do a video documentary like episode 1, 2, and so on, and just show the steps that we take to get this car to where it's going to eventually end up. So what we have here is, I really even don't even know what year it is. Trans Am, the original Tick Performance car, the one Jonathan kind of founded the business on. What you see, the wheelie car in the magazine pictures that, you know, from way back in the early 2000s. But the plan is right now to do 25.2 on this car. You can see we've got the car fixtured on the table. This is the frame table we built for my personal car, but it's came in really handy. We've supported the back because we're going to be cutting the T-tops off, so we don't want the car to open up like a can. We've also supported it right there on the rear frame section, and where the K-member bolts. We're going to also be cutting the rest of the front off this car. There's not going to be hardly anything left. Right around here you can see some bars left over from the original way the car was. The light coming in the door is really screwing with the camera. Keep having to refocus. But this is what we got. We're going to cut all this out. Very minimal left around the towers, just enough. You know, we'll tie that back into the cage. Probably cut the fender skirts the rest of the way out. It's already got all the tubular stuff up front. I think this is Burkhart. It's got a Fab 9 in it already. We've got it covered up by the welding blanket. AFCO's all the way around, but got the original panhard bar style suspension. The torque arm is over here. We're probably going to switch that up, move the shocks inboard like most of the fast people do. We're going to mini tub it and a couple other things, but for right now, this is where we have started. It's just rough cut right now. We have cut the entire floor out just to give us room to design the floor section. So we'll be capping these off, running the inner frame rails from these back to this section, which we will plate all of this. Lower control arms go right here. So we're gonna strengthen this structure back for what we cut out. The plan is to leave this car stock suspension. That means torque arm and everything. Most people, when they go this extensive, they go 4-link like that car over there. But we're leaving this car stock style suspension, but building the chassis so if he ever wants to ditch the torque arm setup, we can swap the rear and go 4-link. All the bars will be in place. We just have to add the brackets. So we just rough cut this so we can measure the floor for the width and get that designed. We're going to design all this in Bentec, so we can have, you know, all our references to go back off of and, you know, cut it and bend it the same way we do all our roll cage stuff. Then after the floor is done, everything inboard of the frame rail kind of goes in a weird shape up around where the shock mounts up through and everything. Everything inboard of the frame rail is coming out, and it's all going to be sheet metal, tubing, carbon, something. This car, we're going to make it super nice. It's also going to get the Midwest chassis cow delete, which it's already had some fab here. Matt done all this at Tick because it's got some big nasty behind the front wheel exit headers. It's going to be used on the first setup the car sees, which will be an all motor RHS if the plan stays the same. But we're still going to get rid of all this cow stuff, do a nice Lexan windshield. You guys thought we chopped up the grub worm. You ain't seen nothing yet. But the reason why we're going 25.2 and not 25.1 is because, I mean, this car will be light enough to get down into the 25.1 category, which is maximum of 2,800 pounds. But we don't want to limit this chassis with how much we're putting into it to one particular weight or class. You got a lot of classes that require you to be over 2,850 pounds or 2,800. So if we do this 25.2, that covers him up to 3,200 pounds. So really he can run any setup he wants, any class he wants. The car won't be limited in the future. So that's our plan, and that's just showing you how far we've got so far. We've got another carbon top laying over here for it. See right there. So we're going to cut the T-tops out and everything. The cage style is going to be pretty well laid out like our 25.5 high and tight. It's going to be tucked up there that tall, only it's going to have a complete tubular floor section and all the way down the middle to the rear of the car. So looking forward to this build. We don't have any particular timeline to finish, so it could take another year, it could take another 6 months, but usually when we start rolling on something like this, especially getting it up on the table, we usually try to keep a steady pace on it, because if you're working on a big project like this and you get too far out, just hit and miss on it, you lose track of a lot of details that's on your mind when it comes to the design of everything, and it's hard to get back in your thought process, or at least it is for me. So stay tuned. This is episode 1, the beginning of Jack the Ripper is what Jonathan is calling the car now. So stay tuned. Episode 2 coming soon.